service of CNC Worldwide.
The Daily is a service of CNC and Jib Jab Greetings. I'm Bud Lowell. Your full AccuWeather forecast is always on top here on your CNC local page. This Monday's fuel gauge report from AAA shows the cheaper crude oil prices being slowly reflected in Rochester area gasoline prices. The average price for a gallon of regular unleaded gas Sunday was $4.06 a gallon, down by 2 cents over the past week. The average was $4 per gallon for both a month ago and a year ago. The statewide average was $4.10. That's down by 3 cents a gallon since last Sunday, a penny cheaper than a year ago. AAA analyst Avery Ash says in his weekly commentary that a growing chorus of analysts are suggesting now that crude oil and wholesale gasoline may have reached or be near their seasonal peak and ready to head back down. A couple of quick notes now. Navigation opened over the weekend on the Erie Canal earlier than usual. It was scheduled originally for May 1st. This is the 188th continuous year of navigation on the canal. Governor Andrew Cuomo has directed that flags on state government buildings be flown at half-staff on Wednesday in honor of a Pittsford naval officer who was killed April 26th in Afghanistan. Lieutenant Christopher Moscow was on a combat operation in the Nawa district as commander of an explosive ordnance disposal platoon. He was stationed at an EOD unit in San Diego. And Eastman Kodak Company, which reported a net loss of $366 million for the quarter last week, is in court Monday arguing for the right to pay its key executives bonuses to keep them from bailing out during Kodak's bankruptcy reorganization. The hearing is in the U.S. District Bankruptcy Court for the Southern District in New York City. We'll have an update. Brighton High School students were back in class Monday. Meanwhile, 18-year-old student Adam Putz, who closed the school Friday when he broke in and vandalized the place, will be in court Monday and Tuesday. Putz is accused of causing tens of thousands of dollars in damages when he broke in before dawn Friday, smashed windows and equipment, and then stole a driver's ed car. The Irondequoit Police Department says it's identified the driver of a van who approached teenage girls last week. The girl was walking in the area of Seneca Park Avenue and St. Paul Boulevard when she was approached by a white male driving a dark-colored utility-style van. The girl reported the man asked if she wanted a ride home. The girl refused and kept walking. The man then drove away. Captain Richard Tantalo said in a statement that the Irondequoit Police Department deployed officers in a variety of locations and under various circumstances to develop information. Officer James Reed observed a vehicle and a driver fitting the girl's description. The vehicle was stopped and the driver identified and questioned. It's determined that he was the individual who had asked the girl if she needed a ride. Based on the results of the investigation, no charges were filed against the driver at this time. Peregrine falcons have been nesting up on one downtown Rochester building or another since 1998. For a long time in a nesting box up on top of the Kodak Tower on State Street, and more recently in a box high up on the Times Square building at Exchange and Broad. The species was nearly wiped out in the 20th century, not by hunters, but by DDT. Now they've come back so successfully that the neighborhood is getting crowded for the falcons, which like their elbow room. And so, Rochester area bird enthusiasts have been watching a sort of avian soap opera this spring in the skies over downtown. It's a story of relationships, a fight for prime real estate, suffering, and even tragic death. June Summers is president of the Genesee Valley Audubon Society. She says the drama started when a falcon named Unity decided the nesting box on the Times Square building looked better than her old perch. Trouble was, the box was already occupied by a peregrine named Beauty, resident since 2009.
Unity, a female that had been nesting at Kodak Park, decided she wanted the penthouse nest box on the Times Square building, and she came downtown and fought with Beauty, who occupied that box and the territory, and she fought with Beauty and injured Beauty badly, and Beauty was picked up by animal control and taken to a veterinarian where she was taken care of and rehabbed for a very long period of time.
The resident male falcon named Archer returned from winter migration to find Unity in possession. but that apparently was fine by him.
In 2011, he had actually mated with Unity out at Kodak Park and mated with Beauty here at Times Square. And that was very stressful because peregrine falcons really tend to be monogamous. And so in 2011, neither female had eggs that hatched.
Things appeared to be settled, but then Archer showed up at the nest box, and falcon watchers on the ground could see his legs appeared to be injured. Archer stayed with Unity, although he appeared to be in pain. Unity laid an egg, but then Archer vanished. Nobody knows what happened. By now, Beauty was healed and released from wildlife rehabilitation at the Montezuma Wetland Complex. She comes back into the story later. But at this point, June Summers says another character enters the drama.
Another male flew in, and he flew directly into the nest box. And by the time that happened, Unity had laid an egg, and we all gasped.
The new male falcon began bonding with Unity. From his band, observers could tell he was hatched in Etobicoke, Ontario, Canada, and his name was .ca, like the ending of a Canadian internet address, .com, .gov, .ca, but with the dot spelled out, .ca. And wait, there's more. The falcon watchers soon saw another falcon, this one a young female, and she was a troublemaker. She began fighting Unity and .ca for the nest box. And now, tragedy struck again. On April 6th, Unity caught a pigeon and landed on Broad Street while struggling to subdue it, and there she was run over and killed by a car. Just a few hours later, Beauty found her way back to Rochester and flew into what she still thinks is her nest box.
It almost appeared as though when Beauty met Dacia looked at Beauty and said, "What have you done with Unity?" And Beauty looked at Dacia and said, "What have you done with Archer?" And they have not gotten along at all because they both have claimed the nesting territory and consider each to be an invader.
It's been a battle for the box since then between .ca and the young female on one hand and Beauty on the other. The late Unity's egg remains ignored by the other falcons, and probably it will never hatch. Who knows what comes next? You can keep up with this at the Rochester Falcon Cam website. The still photos of the players in this tale of intrigue and the time-lapse of a falcon's day can be seen there. 5 cameras are aimed at the nest box, and falcon watchers are usually on duty and tweeting about what they see. And so, the show goes on. To the left of this window are links to more information on these and other stories. Next news as it happens, updates when necessary. I'm Bud Lowell, CNC News.